Good day, everyone. My name is Uton Chikoto, your host with Market Views. Today, I'm joined by colleagues Rufaro and Tawong. I'll go straight into our main topic, our main question. We have seen a great participation of retail investors on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. What do you think is the effect of this to our counters listed on the exchange?
Thanks, Uton. So, increase in participation is always a good thing. And I think the effect is that it will aid in price discovery. It brings liquidity and it helps participation on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. But what I think is key in the participation on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is to highlight that the ZSE Direct and the C Trade were instrumental in bringing retail participation on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. So yeah, kudos to these guys. They have made it easier for retail participation, and we are seeing the benefits. Yeah, thank you.
And do you think that this participation can aid in the price discovery of our small counters, as we've witnessed that many of retail investors are planning on investing in our usual small counters, which usually are not traded that much daily?
Absolutely. So if you look at last year's data, you see that the small cap counters were the most dominating ones. Why? Because when you get in as a retail investor, probably you have limited funds, and the easiest thing for you is to buy those penny stocks. So last year you saw Unifreight, your Wheeldale, your Tenor, all those small cap counters, which institutional investors don't really like to invest in because they deem them too risky. So yes, the retail participation is bringing liquidity to those small caps. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Farah. Tawang, anything you'd like to add on this?
Yeah, I think this is a welcome decision in terms of having more participants on the exchange, and as well as raising awareness with regards to the investment industry as a whole. So in the past, it has always been reserved sort of like for institutional investors. So I think this will be a big move in terms of encouraging people also to have savings in form of investments and things of that sort. Yes.
Yes. In other news, we have heard that we have 2.4 million hectares undercropping this year, and bulk of this crop is said to be in good condition. How do you think this affects our markets overall?
I think it's a good deadline, but it would be prejudice to view it in isolation of the probably the comparable period, that is the previous farming period. So in the previous period, we noticed that 3.4 million hectares were undercropping versus the 2.4 that we are seeing now, and it was around the same time. There might be a debate on the exactness, but however, it's still significant that there is a discrepancy in those figures, and we might expect maybe a lower harvest, as well as considering that the rain season. Yes, we are receiving good rains, but they were a bit late, and most of the farmers, especially the early planters, they had already planted, and they counted losses in terms of in that regard. So how is it going to impact? So for our consumer facing companies, we might experience maybe an increase in food prices because supply demand market dynamics, that is supply and demand. If we have a lower harvest than expected, we will expect food prices to increase, and also considering that on a global scale, we have been witnessing an increase in food prices due to supply disruptions because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So yes, all of this will feed into inflation. Yes, it will cause maybe growth in the value stocks, but the growth stocks might suffer from inflation. That's my take on that.
All right. Given we are all anticipating a good period, a good harvest in 2021, 2022, or 2022 season, what do you think is the effect of such a good agricultural season on our market in Zimbabwe, and which counters should we look at, and what is your advice, or say what is your take on these counters, say these consumer facing counters?
Okay, thanks, Hilton. So it's always a good thing to have a good agricultural season because, especially for Zimbabwe, you then don't need to import a lot of things. You remember, we've heard of things like we're importing maize from Zambia, we're importing this from Kenya. So as a country like Zimbabwe, it's a good thing for us to be able to manufacture the raw products for ourselves. And the trickle down to the markets, it trickles down because you'll find that most of the basics food that we eat, it comes from the soil. And looking at counters like your nut foods, your OK, which is also a retail. I think they're going to benefit from that. That's if we have the good season, because come on, look at it. We might not end up having a good season as we anticipate, because bear in mind that the rains were a bit late, so that could have some effects. But if we do have a good season, I think those are going to be the effects on the economy and trickling down to the market overall.
Thank you. And my final question is, what is your general overview of the market currently in 2022? What have you witnessed, and what should we anticipate?
Yeah, thank you. So, 2022, it got off to a somewhat slow start, especially on the market, but we have seen it sort of trending but sideways. And what we have also witnessed is that there's been very little liquidity, and this might be due to the tightening of the monetary policy by the central bank, as they seek to tame inflationary pressures by way of removing the excess liquidity in the market, thereby depriving the stock market the much needed liquidity to drive any movement. And also is because of it's somewhat uncertain, as we are it's a rundown to the elections, remember. So a lot of things become uncertain as to what policy is going to be, what the government is going to do in terms of whether be it the fiscal front or the monetary side. So most investors, they have been waiting sort of like for a proper outlook that they can base on to say how 2022 is going to be, because right now no one can tell, judging from our past experiences with the election cycle and our elections as Zimbabweans as well. So yeah.
Right. Thank you guys for joining me today. Follow our Twitter page at Vincent Capital. Follow us there on Twitter. You can also like our Facebook page, Vincent Capital on Facebook, and subscribe Vincent Capital on YouTube.